So we are with a little privileged group to practice today together in the Sunday Sangha, and very welcome. We will practice around the theme of listening. We will explore what the Buddha said about listening, and we will practice. But first of all, let's just settle and acknowledge the generosity of our Zoom host, Catherine. Thank you, Catherine, for being Zoom host. And then Jen and I will introduce ourselves a little bit. And then we will enter into practice.
Yeah, so a warm welcome. I am delighted to be here, and I'm joining you from Hong Kong, so it is afternoon over here. Slightly moist, humid spring afternoon. I think spring decided to arrive early for us, just for today, for these few days. I'm very happy to be doing this together with Riët and to welcome you all.
Thanks, Jen. And my name is Riët, and I'm in the Netherlands. At the moment, I feel like this flower of the Dhamma sharing, really giving a joyful sense. And also within the preparation with Janet, felt the Dhamma flowing. And feel very grateful for this. So maybe you can bring us into guide us into the silence, and a welcome to Sandrine as well.
Yeah. So yes, we will begin with a period of sitting. So this opportunity to settle and arrive as we are and see what's here. So if you'd like, just finding a comfortable meditation posture. I'm just going to invite the bell as we begin. I think my audio settings need some attention. And they're okay. So let's begin with the first guideline. Pause. So if you like, allowing the eyes to close, finding this seat or this posture if you are in a different arrangement for this body. How is it to pause right now, to arrive? Welcoming all parts of yourself, however you are arriving. How is it to be this living being in this moment? This body that breathes, that feels, that hears, that smells and tastes, that knows it's sitting or knows that it's in this posture. And this meeting of ourselves just as we are, this breath, this body, as we pause, allow, receive, and just maybe the body and mind are relaxed, and we can notice that. And where it isn't, maybe with a little kind smile, we invite, receive, allow, relax. Even and even today, as we excuse me, work with the guideline, listen deeply, we begin with this pause and relax. Pausing and relaxing as this invitation to arrive and welcome ourselves as we are, not as we wish, but simply however it is in this moment. Taking the time And sometimes the breath is a wonderful invitation to receive, allow, relax. And maybe you can sense into how the breath, maybe for some the in-breath, maybe for others the out-breath, might invite some ease into this body, into this mind. Or maybe the generous support of the ground of your seat, holding the weight of this body here for you, so you can allow this body to rest as it is. Pausing and relaxing as this foundation of receptivity as we explore maybe the third guideline of open. I like to imagine this opening beginning from the inside as we feel our way out, maybe just to the edges of the skin, feeling the body from the inside out. And wherever the body makes contact with what's external, maybe firstly through the sense of touch, the touch of clothing, the touch of air, temperature, contact with your seat, the ground. And then noticing contact through the other senses, maybe sound. How is sound arriving at your ears? This ear consciousness. This internal mindfulness, opening to the external world through which we are being touched. Noticing how this dance happens, this internal, external, and the movement between the two. How is that being known and experienced right now? And maybe as we open to this sense of space, this internal, external space, we might find ourselves also opening to change. It's moment to moment to moment change. No moment ever the same as the last or the next. There's this magic in really noticing this is it, this moment, right here. Allowing these first four guidelines, pause, relax, open, and attune to emergence to guide us into this exploration of the Dhamma of listening deeply.
Thank you, Jen. And again, welcome. Also for the ones who just joined during the meditation. I thought it's so precious to have this opportunity on Sunday morning for the Sunday Sangha, for the Europe times and the afternoon times for Asia. And for the Europe times, it's a beautiful start of the Sunday. So for the afternoon, beautiful way of spending afternoon with Dhamma, with friends, with practice. Really appreciate it. So Jen and I prepared this session. The series of the Sunday Sangha are about how the guidelines of Insight Dialogue relate to the Dhamma as an overarching theme. And somehow we landed on listening deeply, and the Dhamma of listening deeply, it emerged. And the Dhamma, of course, can be seen as the teachings of the Buddha. This whole enormous collection of teachings, the suttas, the Abhidhamma and the monastic discipline teachings, and also as Dhammas, which is often the Dhammas with a small d, not a capital D. And those are all these phenomena we can be aware of when we are mindful. All these phenomena that arise in us and fall away in us, like thoughts, emotions, bodily experiences. All these Dhammas. And we prepared 2 contemplations. One has to do with this Dhamma with a capital D. One maybe not only with a capital D, but with our world of concepts, persons, ideas about what and who we are. And the other, the Dhammas that refer to this inner experience. And of course, we cannot separate them because we are totally conditioned with both. So when we listen deeply, maybe it's good to remember that the word sutta is related to hearing. Sota is the ear in Pali. And the Buddha spoke many, many words. And we speak many, many words. And we listen many, many times, like in this moment. We are listening. How are we listening? How are we listening in daily life? And of course, how we listen in daily life is so much conditioned by the situation we are in, dependent on why we listen, to whom we listen, our habits of listening, our whole learning history of listening. Often when the Buddha was speaking to either monastics or lay people, many times to both to monastics and lay people, there was a question or he observed something, and then he kind of sometimes intervened to explain something. With very compassionate and gentle intention. And then he said often, not all the time, those words. Listen attentively. I will speak. And then he started to say something, to explain. Listen attentively. I will speak. And with this invitation to listen attentively, we will practice in our first contemplation. And it's just this imagination. What if we are sitting opposite a Buddha? What is happening when we imagine that when we listen, we are listening to a Buddha? What happens in our minds when we imagine our friend who will practice is speaking? And we listen as if the other is a Buddha. We listen attentively. And also this word to listen attentively is in Pali, oita soto. Again, the word soto, sutta, of hearing, of our ears. Sometimes also translated as listen actively, which has this remembering of mindfulness, of remembering to listen. So we like to invite you in the breakout rooms, and then by way of hearing, I will invite you to the contemplation. So if there's anything in the breakout room that isn't clear, you can always, or if there's a problem, you can always come back to the main room. It's really about the practice of listen deeply, speaking truth of the moment. It's, this confidentiality of what is heard, of what is spoken. We remain between us. We don't give advice to each other. We don't ask questions, just to offer each other the space to pause, to relax into whatever happening inside of us, to gently open, attune to emergence. So, can you please bring us in the breakout rooms, Catherine? Thank you.
I would also going into the room now.
Thank you. Welcome in your breakout room with your meditation partner. And please, between the two of you, decide who will be the first speaker and who will be the first listener. And if that's clear, just please pause together. And when your eyes are closed in this moment, or maybe open, that's also fine. Just direct your mind to the thought. Who is this sitting in front of you in the breakout room?
I cannot hear anything inside the room, so just want to check this thing is working.
Okay.
I'll go back in now.
Thank you. I will speak. Sorry, there was a little technical hiccup here. Please pause together and decide who will be the first speaker and listener. Thank you. And when it's clear, just we pause again. And imagine, either with eyes closed or open, remembering your own body sitting. And also, who is the other sitting in front of you? Maybe you know the person. Maybe you have memories or have practiced together before. What is arising? So again, for this contemplation, we invite you to imagine that we listen because we are invited, as if the Buddha is speaking to us. What happens when you hear this very special invitation from this very special wakeful being, Buddha? And he said, listen attentively, I will speak. Thus is the first listener invited. And first speaker, you are invited to speak to what is alive in you in this moment, what is present in you right now, what is experienced. Or reflect on your experience to speak truth and to speak to the reality in this moment. Maybe there's something that's alive about your life at the moment. In your life, that's fine. You can share that. Just discern what's happening in this moment. And listener, just using all the guidelines. Pause, relax, open. Attune to your emergence. And listen attentively as an invitation of the Buddha. And you will have 5 minutes. The invitation to pause together again. And while pausing, the invitation to listen deeply internally to what is present in you, what can be noted. How do you know? And we will switch roles. The listener becomes the speaker becomes the listener. A new speaker, you're invited to explore what is present in you, what is alive, what's occurring in the mind. To kindly discern and share what you wish to share. A new listener, please explore how it is to imagine that now there's a Buddha opposite of you sitting. And there's this invitation. Listen attentively. I will speak. So about 5 minutes. An invitation to offer yourself a pause again, to land into silence together. Aware of what's happening right now. We will continue with an open dialogue, no separate roles, together exploring. This way, this kind invitation of listen attentively to Buddha in our minds. What was your experience of listening? In what way was there maybe a difference with listening in daily life? What happens in this moment? Reflecting on this together. Are there any emotions, triggers, calmness or reactivity? Listen attentively together, giving space. How does this differ from daily life listening? We have about 5 minutes.
So welcome back. Pausing, relaxing, opening, and attuning to emergence, this moment. So in our second contemplation, we will be exploring that moment. I don't know how it was for you, but earlier when I heard Riët's words, listen attentively, I will speak. There was this moment of waking up, this, what is going to be said? Or perhaps if you're the speaker, maybe you don't know what's going to be said. So it's this mystery. And in this next contemplation, we want to drop in the question, what is the Dhamma here? What is the truth to be known in the moment as we continue to listen deeply? There's this line that says, we listen the other into being, into presence. So I want to offer us this investigation of what is it like? The listener listens in that way, without expectation, without demand. What then happens to this being here who is speaking? What do I notice? How does my experience become speech and words and offered back to you? And how does that change for me when you are listening to me as if I am this very special being, the Buddha, an awakened one? And This space of being deeply listened to is founded on the first four guidelines. What is here now when we pause and relax? As we explore open, where does the listener and the one who is listened to meet? And how do we commingle in this dance between the internal and external? And then the attuning to emergence, the not knowing, the shared consciousness of what am I about to say? Or what are you about to say? So see for yourself the Dhamma of listening deeply. So as we go back, I will offer guidance through broadcast, and we will do one round of separate speaker listener and then some time in open dialogue again. So Catherine, if we can send everyone off to the breakout rooms again. Thank you. So as you arrive again into your rooms, notice what it's like to pause. Oh. Notice what it's like to pause, relax, and open. With this space of being deeply listened to, this speaking being, or the speaker, the first speaker, listened to is as if you were the Buddha. How will you speak? What is happening when you speak? So you will share from this reality, from this moment, sharing what it's like to notice the process of speaking. And the listener continuing to be supported by all the guidelines as you listen deeply. So first speaker, you may begin.
I'm not co-host. I cannot change the recording.
So it's time to switch roles. And the next speaker now, it's your turn to explore what it's like to speak as you are being listened to, as if you were the Buddha. How then might you speak? Speaking from the truth of this moment. How is it to speak? What is happening as you speak in this way? So dear friends, just inviting you to pause. As we drop the fixed roles and continue the exploration of the Dhamma of listening deeply. What is the Dhamma here? Just listening to the other as if they were the Buddha, just speaking from the place of being listened to as the Buddha. What is that like? What qualities might you have noticed arose in the shared space of listening deeply? So sharing the time in open dialogue. What is the Dhamma here? The Dhamma of listening deeply. Okay, let me do that. Hopefully they will see that. Okay, and I'll close the